It's the Brad and John Show.
John, can I tell you something really weird? By the way, this is C Blocks, which means we start at right around 7:40. We're a little bit late this morning because of John not agreeing with me about the Hazelwood School District, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, please tell me something.
Okay. This is sort of inward. This is a weird quirk of mine. I hate hearing my voice on the radio.
Really?
I hate it.
You would think after all these years you would have gotten used to it.
I hate it. Every time, like when I play the commercials here, I listen to myself and I think to myself, God, I suck. That's so bad. You know,
Well, that's not true, Brad, but go ahead.
I do. I mean, I hate it. I absolutely positively hate it. And I have a new weird thing, okay? I can't ever get my voice to sound right through the processing. We use processing here in the radio station. We use processing meaning we're doing things to the audio track. We're doing equalization, compression, expansion, all sorts of weird stuff like that. I can never get it to sound where I thought to myself, God, that sounds good. I can never get it like that. And I always think I suck. Isn't that terrible?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think objectively, if you sucked, you would have heard something about it in your 90 plus years on this earth. And don't you think we're all our own worst critics, Brad?
No, some people think, oh, I'm wonderful.
Sorry to interrupt.
I'm so beautiful.
Maybe not everybody is their own worst critic.
Right, some people.
But I hear your voice across your stations, Brad, and I think it's melodic. And I think you have I'm going to read you a text that someone sent to me about you, Brad, over the weekend. And they told me, I do get a lot of feedback on the show. And this person said that, hold on one second. You and Brad have a really good cadence. Every time I listen, I am reminded I need to slow down my speech pattern, blah, 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 blah. Not sure if it's practiced or natural for you all, but it's something I notice every time I listen. So, Brad, that is because of you. That's not about me and you. It is because you lead us through the show. You have such a good cadence. You have such a good pattern of speech. And when I mirror it, I think it sounds really good.
But my voice sucks, John. That's all there is to it.
Well, you know what? And the other thing is, for folks who are listening, if you have a friend who chooses to continually beat themselves up, you can provide evidence to the contrary. But it's up to them to decide to beat themselves up or accept the compliment.
Okay. Next thing, and I know I bring the horse into the studio, John. Will you bring that horse in so I can, and we make sure it's dead? Will you drag it into the studio?
Yeah, beat it to death. Right? Does this have to do with KFUO, the Hoffmans, or St. Louis Public Radio?
Let's try.
Or does it have to do with the Lake of the Ozarks Shootout boat race?
No, let's try KFUO. Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Well, remind me to do the Lake of the Ozarks boat shootout. Okay.
You won't get it because you'll talk for the next 12 minutes about KFUO.
No, I will not. Okay. Over the weekend. The way the FCC works and a lot of the government agencies, if you actually file something online, it doesn't appear till the next day. You know what I'm talking about, how that works, John?
I do know. Yeah, it takes a while.
Okay. Over the weekend, one of our prime listeners notified me that the attorney for KFUO had filed something on Friday, which showed up on the FCC website on Saturday, which I wasn't aware of. So I looked at it and I go, here we go again. I mean, first off, I'm dealing with a New York attorney. I'm not a New York, a Washington, D.C. communications attorney. And now she's making fun of me. I'm going like, okay. And the interesting point of this is
she really, let me interrupt. Is she really making fun of you, or is she giving like a simple declarative sentence and you interpret it as an insult?
No. It's interesting because I had two different people say this to me yesterday, that she's making fun of me and she's here. But here's what's sort of interesting about this is, let me pull up, let me if I can find this real quick. I didn't get prepared on this. Let me see if I can find this. TUR, see if I can find this. Okay. This is my consulting engineer, and I won't read the whole thing. He says, yes, this is exactly as you guessed in our conversation. They claim that they actually did build the station with a, quote, considerable directional antenna in spite of not filing it for the application for construction permit, nor disclosing information license, blah, 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 blah. And this is what he says. And they continue to blab legalese and pick on you. See, once again, right here, he says it. And pick on you for being less than their definition of professional in your filings. She did that. This is what he says. I'll read this again. And they continue to blab legalese and pick on you for being less than their definition of professional in your filings. To be expected for someone who constantly hides behind lawyers in everything they do. That's according to what he says. And this is a guy who is a seasoned FCC, and he doesn't work for the FCC, but this is what he does for a living. He's a consulting engineer. He's filed thousands and thousands and thousands of applications, modifications, different things with the FCC. His final paragraph is, I have to tell you, I've never seen such a response, and I'm really at a loss for words to say as some form of reply you can make. He's seen thousands of things with the FCC. He doesn't know what to tell me. Because of the fact it's gotten so bizarre and so strange and so weird, because of the fact, and I will say this up front, I'm not afraid to say this, I have found both a person at KFUO and this attorney who works for a big law firm in Washington, D.C., perjured themselves. Perjur. Isn't that perjure? Perjure, John? Isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
Perjured.
And Brad, I'm sorry to interrupt. We know that they've perjured themselves. You've covered this a great deal. I'm looking for this letter on both fccdata.org and then the FCC website, but I can't find this latest attorney's letter.
Okay. You want me to give you exactly where it's at?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. Go into, there's an easy way to do it. Go to fccdata.org. fccdata.org.
Yep, I'm there right now.
Okay. Type in K as in kilo.
Underneath call sign?
Yeah. Call sign K283, C as in Charlie's, C as in Charlie, I as in India. So K283CI, okay? And when you click on that, you will get the translator 104.5. It'll say Missouri Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. You got that right there?
I see the whole thing. Yeah.
Okay, go way down to the bottom, and there'll be filings on there, and there'll be a filing. The last thing it'll say I think it says June 30th, 2025. Do you see that?
Yeah, I see it, license to cover, right?
Okay. Do you see the little orange triangle pointing up?
I do.
Click on the orange triangle. And
then I see the pleadings. I see. Okay,
right.
And then there's a 7-11 one filed by the motion for leave to file supplemental. I see it, Brad.
Right.
Thank you for walking me through that. I see it now.
Click on that one. And once again, this is so bizarre because let me just sort of synopsize this. It would be like saying, let's say John Combest lived someplace in West County, and it was illegal for him to paint his house pink. And he painted his house pink. And the county police came by and said, hey, we're fining you because you painted your house pink. And you said, my house isn't pink. And you said, they looked, they go, yes, it's pink. And then a week later, John paints his house purple. And the police come by and say, hey, you got in trouble because you painted your house pink. And John says, pink? My house has never been pink. Get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, yeah.
So if you read the pleadings, and she's making fun of me on a couple different levels. One, because of the fact that I didn't date I didn't put a date on my pleading. The reason I don't do that is because, and John, you know this from being in the government world, when you file stuff with government agencies, their computer automatically time and date stamps it, correct? So it's just like going to the bank. You can write June 14th on a deposit slip if you go to the bank, and if you go yesterday on the 14th of July and you put the money in the bank, it doesn't show up that you deposit the money on June 14th. It shows up you deposit the money on July 14th. Get what I'm saying? I do, yeah. They don't care what's on the paper. It's all about the timestamp, okay? So I'm going like, when I get a guy, and let me just say this, I'm not bragging about who I'm going to deal with. First off, the guy is great to deal with because not only is he an incredible engineer, society broadcast engineers, all the different accolades, stuff like that. He's done this for decades. He's sharp as a tack, and he's funny. When him and I get together and talk on the phone, matter of fact, whenever I call him on the phone, he always answers with some crazy thing. I like the guy, okay? When he tells me he has no idea what me to tell to do. Do you think I'm in uncharted territory, John? Would you say I'm in uncharted territory?
Yeah, as I look at their filing here, they have a really detailed map here. And what about their map is inaccurate here, Brad?
Well, John, the interesting part of this is once again, I go back to my explanation of saying you got in trouble for painting your house pink and you repainted your house and then you said your house was never pink. That's exactly what they're doing. And the crazy thing about it is what she has done, what this attorney has done, has further perjured herself because of the fact that that map, that coverage map that you see on there on the last page has never, ever, ever been on one of their filings.
I see. So she's just adding this now and pretending it was that. You're saying that she's just adding this now and pretending it was like that way all along.
Yes, exactly.
I get what you're saying.
She's essentially saying, well, this is what we've done all along. No, it's not, because you can go on the FCC database and look at their and if you want to look at this stuff for you nerds out there, they filed for construction permit on the 19th of December. They filed for license to cover on June 2nd. Look at the coverage maps. And then look at what she put in her filing on July 11th. It's totally different. It's totally different. And now they're essentially saying, well, this is what we were doing all along. No, it's not. It's bull. Just like.
Now, Brad, let me ask you a question. As you look at this map, what she has outlined on here for the KSLQ licensed contour, is that part accurate?
Yes.
Okay, so that's accurate. But what you're saying is that the stuff that she added, which is, for folks who are visualizing this, two big concentric circles to the right, you're saying that that's inaccurate.
Actually, there's three. If you look at it very closely, there's three.
Okay. I see. You're right. There's a green, a blue, and a red. I see what you're saying.
There's three different circles.
And those big circles are where the KFUO signal interferes with our signal.
Okay. Here's the basis for this whole crazy thing. Okay. If you file an application with the FCC for construction permit and you say you're going to build a tower at such and Latin lawn, it's going to be, this tower's 300 feet tall, you're going to put up a 4-bay antenna, and you're going to feed it with 3,000 watts. If you don't build that station just the way you've applied for your construction permit, you have essentially committed a crime. In other words, it would be like going to St. Louis County. You live in St. Louis County. You in St. Louis County and say, I'm going to build a 3-bedroom home, and here's the plans. And
then you build a 10-county home, or a 10-room home,
right.
And then because you're lying.
Right, and you build a 4-story house with 14-car garage.
I get exactly what you're saying, Brad.
And they go, whoa, hold on a minute. This isn't what you told us you're going to build. That's what they've done.
And what's the next step in this? Before we get to the Lake of the Ozarks shootout, what's the next step in this?
I don't know. I'm so frustrated. And what it comes down to is, what's sad about this is, I'm dealing with the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. Okay, when I think of religious people, and this is the Mr. Do-Gooder Brad in my mind, I still think of, if you got a problem, sit down in a room and work it out. But then I'm always reminded of the movie Spotlight. Remember the movie Spotlight?
No, I don't.
The movie Spotlight is the story of how the Boston Globe essentially broke the case with the priest scandal. And there's, if you and John, don't ever watch that movie. Now John will go watch it.
Okay, now I'll go watch it. Okay.
But it's a great movie because at one point in time, the editor of the paper, of the Boston Globe, who is Jewish, is talking to the cardinal in Boston, and the cardinal is lying his butt off. And essentially everybody knows
it. Let me interrupt, Brad. Let's get back to the topic. You have in your mind that you could sit down with folks that are religious and then you could actually hash it out, but that's not been the case.
I had a meeting with them, and once again, and if you go back to the previous filings, in this lawyer's verbiage, she said, as promised, and then they turn around and didn't do anything. As promised. You lied. You perjured yourself. It's just ridiculous. Okay, last couple of minutes, I talked to Chris Walker yesterday. He said, you know who he is, right?
Yeah, are we free to talk about him on the air?
Yeah, he's cool because of the fact
good deal.
He listens to the show, and he explained to me that the ads I heard were actually a part of a buy that was placed by the Missouri Broadcasters Association. And since I'm not a member of the Missouri Broadcasters Association, the head of the Missouri Broadcasters Association, I called him up and I said, anyway, I can get some of those ads. And he goes, no ads for you. No Lieutenant Governor ads for you. No Lieutenant Governor ads for you.
Now, you didn't really contact him, did you?
No, I didn't. But he essentially told me.
Okay.
He essentially told me.
So in other words, you thought, you had said on the air yesterday that the ads were paid for by Lieutenant Governor Wassinger, and you were incorrect.
Well, they were paid for by the Lieutenant Governor, but it went through the Missouri Broadcasters Association. So in other words, the Missouri Broadcasters Association made the buy, but you had to be a member of the Missouri Broadcasters
I get it. That
Association.
makes sense. So if you're the lieutenant governor's office, you're going to want to deal with a credible third party like Missouri Broadcasters.
Right,
and
exactly.
then you're going to,
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, Chris couldn't be a nicer guy. He says he listens to a show all the time. And you know what's interesting? He says he loves John's voice, but he says, Brad, I don't know if I like your voice or not.
That is absolutely not true.
I think your voice.
Shout out to Chris. Thank you for listening, Chris.
I think your voice kind of sucks. That's what he said to me. No, Chris is a great guy. And you know what? I like the guy because he doesn't sound like a political guy. He sounds, you've talked to him before, right?
A real human being. Yeah.
Yes, he sounds like a real guy you'd want to have dinner with or go out, and have a beer with or Diet Coke or whatever.
Too bad your voice sucks, Brad, or you could have dinner with him.
Right. I could talk like this and we'd have a great time.
Hey, careful. You're going to have some kind of lemon sucker feminist send you some Britain's Got Talent video and say, stop making fun of women's voices.
Wonder if she heard that. I'll know if she did. Okay, John, say goodbye.
See you tomorrow, Brad.